just got out of court. You guys know by now that Diddy was sentenced to 50 months, which is 4 years in prison. The last video I made, I said to y'all that I thought the judge was going to throw the book at Diddy. And I meant that I thought Diddy was going to be looking at anywhere from like 7 to 10 years. And I was thinking more so like maybe 8 with the year, you know, time served or whatever. Or 7. Yeah, 7 or 8 years. And then we went in court and it completely changed, yo. Like, I mean, Diddy speaking for himself. Like, it was I mean, you had a lot of factors, right? I think definitely Diddy speaking for himself. I want to read to you the words that Diddy said, because Diddy's speaking for himself today, and he said it's been so hard for him to be quiet. Because, I mean, you're talking about his fate, his future, his life here, and he said it's been so hard for him to be quiet. And I had to think about it too when he said that. I'm like, Diddy has been, hey, you welcome. Diddy has been a boss. He has been in charge of his own life and career. I'll put it right here. Has been in charge of his own life and career for as long as we've known him. Like, Sean Diddy Combs has been the driver. He's been the man, the go-to, calling on the shots for as long as we've known him. And he said it was so hard for him to sit quiet and listen to people talk about him and talk about things he did or he didn't do. But I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm glad that he didn't talk. I'm glad that the first time we saw Diddy and heard Diddy speak in full length was today, at the time that he spoke, because it saves him. I think when Diddy spoke and took accountability for some things, the judge not only saw, because, you know, looking at when you're sentencing, you're looking at the totality of the person. It's not just, you know, what does the prosecution think, what does the government think, what does the sentencing guideline think. It's like, well, who is this person in the world? And it's like really a thing of, are they better in or better out? And the judge said, look, you need to stay in because I don't believe you, and I don't believe that, you know, I don't believe that what you're telling me right now is true, but I do believe one day it will be. And if it is, hey, girl, don't crash.
I love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
I am Kendall Gomez. Please follow.
Kendall Gomez?
Under YouTube.
Okay, drive safe. Yeah, so the judge was like, listen, as much as I believe you're this motivational man, this man that has accomplished so much, despite the fact that you lost your father at a young age, you've been trying to figure it out and whatever, you need to sit down. You need to sit down. You need to take some time. But I think where this worked out well for Diddy was the judge is, first of all, I think it being 2025 and people having to consider things like mental health and, you know, like what rehabilitation really looks like a lot differently than we've always known the jails and the prisons to do, really worked in his favor as well, because this judge said you need to sit down and really get some time with yourself and really just feel the consequence of what you did. But then we also need to think about what your mental health looks like, your drug addiction. How do we help you with that as well too? So Diddy stood up and he said, first of all, they asked for a comfort break. When we came back in, we literally took a break for us to come back in, Brian Still to speak. We took a break after Brian Still spoke, who's one of Diddy's attorneys. And then they said, can we have a comfort break, 10 minutes? So the judge is like, yes. They wanted that comfort break before Diddy got up and spoke. Diddy wanted to get himself together. We come back, Diddy's about to speak. He asked for another 5 more minutes. I'm like, oh, he is nervous, right? So I keep moving Patrick's hand because I'm trying to get this. I want y'all to see everything that's happening in the background with the courthouse and all the cars and the people and the cameras and just the movement. So Diddy finally speaks, right? And he says, thanks, Judge, for allowing me to speak up for myself. It's been hard not to be able to speak up for myself and talk about how sorry I am. He then starts apologizing. He says, I apologize to Cassie. He says, you know, and I don't take that apology lightly. I apologize to her family. I apologize to Jane. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sorry I brought you into my mess. I apologize to all domestic violence victims because I know that video on CNN triggered so many people around the world. He says it was disgusting. It was shameful. It was sick. He says, Diddy admits he was sick. He says that, you know, he was out of control. He needed help and he failed. He didn't go get help. He failed. He says he can't make any excuses because he knew better. He says, I knew better. I was raised to do better. And I was like, when he said that, I knew better. I was raised to do better. I'm like, that's already going to win over the judge, because the judge has made a point to say, this isn't new. This has been happening for over a decade. You're 50-something years old when a lot of these things had happened. So he says, I can't make any excuses because I knew better. I was raised to do better. My mother raised me better. My faith raised me better. He says, you know, he got lost in his journey. He says, I'm just a man. I'm a man. I'm not this larger than life person. At my core, I'm just a man, and I got lost in my journey. This ate too. He said, I got lost in my ego. And the reason why I say that ate, not because it made me be like, oh my God, Diddy. I'm like, this is what the judge was speaking to, literally was speaking to before we went to lunch. When I told y'all, I think it's a wrap for him. And I told y'all, if he's smart, he better readjust his mental, what he's going to say. And you need to speak to exactly what the judge says he does not see or feel from you. And that is exactly what he did. He took them cues and did exactly what he was supposed to. And I do believe it was genuine as well, too. He says, you know, I lost everything. I lost my career. I lost my reputation. I lost my ability to raise my kids and help my mom. I lost my self-respect. I lost my businesses. They talked a lot about him not having money anymore. He said, right now, I hate myself. He says, I've been stripped down to nothing. I really am sorry, no matter what they say. And when he says they, he's talking about the prosecution. He turns to his kids at this point and he apologizes to them. He says, I failed you all as a dad. And he begins to break down in tears. He apologized to his mom and he says, you know, I failed you as a son. He says, I'm sorry, Mom. You taught me better. To whom much is expected, much is given. I'm sorry, to whom much is given, much is expected, Diddy says. And he says, I failed my community. I just wanted to be an example of what we could do if we were able to solve our own problems, have our own things. I just got lost. I'm not this bad person. Then he begins addressing the judge directly. He says, Your Honor, if given a second chance, you can show people, and I can show people that I've changed. Sometimes events happen in your life that just change you. Now, these are not excuses that I'm making. I've been changed. I beg for your mercy, Your Honor. He then talks about, you know, asking and begging for a second chance to not only just change, to show change, but to also be a father, to be a son, to be a leader again. He says, Your Honor, I'm asking you for this chance to get the help I really need. I don't want to let my family down. They need me. I'm scared. They're scared. I'm all that they had. If I go away, they have nobody, and I blame myself for that. I'm willing to comply with any conditions that the court puts upon me. He talks about, you know, he wants to go around and share his story, but he doesn't want to go around and share his story because he wants to be Puff Daddy, the man, the you know, all the things. It's not about that. He says, this is traumatic. This is what he is dealing with right now is horrific. And if he can share this story, maybe he can save, this is all the people leaving from court, all of the outlets, all of the, like, everybody. He says maybe he can save one person. So even at Miami, booking that the prosecution just threw out there as this plan booking in Miami, that was a whole revitalized plan that his team had come up with. They had talked to the prison system already, the sheriff's departments down there, the Department of Corrections, probation offices, and everybody was in agreement that this program will be amazing. They need this program. It's more effective when people get out of jail and they're put in programs. They don't return back to jail. So this would be amazing. They turned that whole narrative upside down in Diddy's favor as well too. He says, I don't care about no fame, no money. I don't care if I ever make another record again or perform again. If I get a chance to share my traumatic story, I can save someone's life. Thank you to the jury, Your Honor. You gave me, Your Honor, confidence to trust the jury. Thank you to them for the not guilty. I don't take lightly my Mann Act charges, and I'm dealing with the consequences. I thought that was another point where I'm like, he listened, and he's listening. He's really listening. He's setting everything aside, whether he thinks he should have been proven guilty or not. He's setting all that aside and saying, regardless of what I think, here's what happened, and as much as I don't want to be here, I accept it, and I'm going to deal with the consequences, because the judge made it clear he did not feel like Diddy at any point even acknowledge those charges, because he didn't think he should be faced with them, nor should he be convicted of them. He says, I thank them for the not guilty. I don't take my Mann Act charges lightly. He says, the prosecution wants you to make an example out of me. I want you to make an example that things can happen if someone's giving a second chance. And then the sentencing came down. And when the sentencing came down, the judge opened up with, telling the court that as much as he's realized that Diddy is this self-made artist, this businessman who has inspired many people and done all these things, a devoted family man, he says, the judge said, I consider the collateral damage to your family and to your kids. So it was very effective having the children speak, man. There was not a dry eye in the building when those kids spoke. He says, the court knows that addiction is real and that you've been able to get clean from incarceration, but you got to consider all of your history. And a lot of your history includes the violence that the power, the misuse of power, not having respect for the law and for the, you know, and evidence is massive. He says, I sat here and I listened to Cassie testify, Jane testified. I saw text messages, emails, all the photos of abuse. And then he talked about the sentencing of 50 months to 4 years. I'm trying to tell y'all, I don't think anybody rejoices for joy, you know, rejoices when they're headed to jail. But Diddy is so lucky right now. The judge's tone before we led back into the second half of the day was not anything of giving. There was no mercy on the court, in my opinion. The judge wasn't mean about it. He wasn't rude about it. But I did not think that there was going to be mercy on the court. But I do think that Diddy speaking and taking accountability in front of the court, in front of his children, in front of his family, because the judge definitely understood how much his family means to him. Him doing that and showing that, I think it changed things for him, for the better. So he'll do the time, and we'll see what happens from here. If I'm Diddy's team, I wouldn't even appeal. I wouldn't. I understand why they would want to, because they feel like there's certain things that shouldn't have been factored in, like, you know, them being able to look at things that were acquitted. But I think for what Diddy was facing and what he's going to actually do, he made out the best way he could have made out in this. This is the latest with Lauren LaRosa. I'm heading on over to NBC4 New York to talk to them about the same thing. Make sure you guys tune in, and I'll be doing some more content throughout the weekend. I got a lot here. It's been a long 8 weeks, 9 weeks, y'all, but we did it. Trial is over now.